Where did you grow up and why did you live there?
Grew up in Motley, Minnesota. Actually, I was born in Motley, Minnesota. And I was born at home. And my dad was the butter maker in Motley at that time. And he was the butter maker there from about 1921 till 1932. And then we moved from there up to Frazee, where we were on the farm. So I was both a town kid and a farm kid.
What was your home situation like?
Well, there was 7 of us. So just imagine what it was like: 2 sisters and 4 brothers. We had a good time, but that's where you get your long reach from, you know. you have to help yourself at the table.
When you were growing up, were there stories that your parents told trying to teach you lessons? Maybe.
Well, it's hard to say that. Sure, I got lessons, and but you know, with 7 kids, you somewhat wait your turn on that too, and you get a lot of your lessons from your older brothers beating on you. So some of them are hard to learn.
What was everybody talking about back then?
Well, as a kid growing up, I can remember a presidential election. Now, you're going to ask me who was running. Smith was, I believe, one of them. But that was a big talk around town when I was a kid. My dad used to send me to the post office to pick up the mail for him. You know, he was at the creamery, and he'd give me a nickel if I would go get the mail for him. And in that time, you'd get a bag of candy like you wouldn't believe for a nickel. And that's where I got this from. Was that? Yeah, no, this came later.
What did your grandfather do for a living?
My grandfather, there was 2 grandfathers, of course, and the one in North Dakota was a big-time wheat farmer. My dad was one of 5 boys that grew up on this wheat farm, and the other grandpa lived in Little Falls, Minnesota, and ran a dairy farm. So I had a good time. I could go with my parents to my grandfather there in Little Falls, grandfather and grandmother, and see the cows and the pigs and chase the chickens. And
what did your father do for a living?
yeah, he was the butter maker there.
Right.
The head butter maker. Yeah. Matter of fact, he was very expert at this butter making. Like I told you, there was 7 of us kids, and he would put this butter, this prize-winning butter that he'd entered in competitions like at the county fairs and the state fair and so forth. And if his butter was the best, he'd get a trophy, something like this, for the prize-winning butter. And like I said, he got enough to where each one of us kids got one of these. So, and I used to spend a lot of time down there at the creamery. It was fun for me. I enjoyed watching my dad actually churn this butter, and I watched him enough that I felt, given the opportunity, I could make some prize-winning butter of my own.
What was something that your father was always proud of?
Well, of course, they're in. Well, one thing that he was proud of, beside his family, was the 1924 Buick touring car that he had, that he bought brand new, and he really enjoyed it. And he'd load his big family, 7 kids, in that big old Buick, and away we'd go to Grandpa and Grandma's. And Grandpa would say, "Oh, here those Wests come again."
What are some lessons you learned from your parents that you then took into raising your own family?
Oh, well, you know, I think all of us that eventually get married, you're thinking of what's all the good things well, you learn some of the bad things too. And so when you get married, you filter it out and make up your own rules. You adopt the good things that happen to you at home and try to create better ones for your family. That's what we did.